I'd like to call this meeting of the Francis Marion University Board of Trustees to order and ask Reverend Finkley to bring an invocation, please.
Let us pray. Gracious God, in every age you have sent men and women who have given their lives to study and learn, to teach and to educate. We thank you for all those you have drawn to this place to grow in knowledge and wisdom. We praise you for students, teachers, staff, donors, administrators, board members, and all who contribute to this community. Today especially, we thank you for artists and authors who remind us of the inexhaustible richness of your creation. Bless our time together, that our words and actions serve you and our brothers and sisters in the FMU family. In your name we pray. Amen.
Thank you. This time I'll ask Ms. Davis to call the roll, please.
Mr. Dyson?
Here.
Dr. Blunt?
Here.
Mr. Kohler?
Here.
Dr. Dozier?
Here.
Mr. Elmore?
Here.
Reverend Finkley?
Here.
Mr. Freeman? Mr. Freeman?
Here.
Here.
Mrs. Harton?
Here.
Mr. Jackson?
Here.
Mr. Jones?
Here.
Mr. Hills?
Here.
Senator Letterman?
Yes.
Mr. Lee?
Here.
Mr. McIntyre?
Here.
Mr. Moore?
Here.
Dr. Kelly?
Here.
And Mrs. Richardson?
Here.
Thank you. I'll note for the record that the media has been notified in accordance with the Freedom of Information Act and that a quorum is present here today. In your packets are the minutes from the August 6th meeting. Do I have a motion to approve those minutes or any corrections or deletions?
Move they be approved as submitted.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Coleman, seconded by Mrs. Richardson to approve the minutes of August 6, 2015. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? I would like to make one change. I think Mr. Elmore was going to make a motion to make an adjustment on the agenda, please.
Mr. Chairman, I'd move to revise the agenda to move the report from the Executive Affairs Committee to item 6 under new business from item 3, committee reports.
Second. Motion by Mr. Elmore to move the Executive Affairs Committee report to item 6, and a second by Mr. Jackson. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Okay. Next, we'll move to Academic Affairs and Accreditation. Dr. Bunch.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Board, and President. Thank you for this opportunity. Have several items to discuss today. First, we had a report from Dr. Larry Englehart, who was standing in for Dr. Flanagan, who is at the Poetry and Fiction Festival that's being currently held. He reported about the organization for the search for the new provost. He discussed the search committee and from within the college the different professors who would be on that committee, beginning to gather and screen applicants at this time. Also, I got a report from Dr. Peter King, our associate provost, stated that we had 3,947 students, it's slightly up from last year. Freshman class has 742 students. 96% of our freshmen are from South Carolina, 49% from the PD alone. 89% of our freshmen have either the Hope, Life, or Palmetto Fellow Scholarship, and 87% of all undergraduates receive some type of financial assistance. Admission office is very busy right now. They are participating in college appreciation days and also have individual FMU interview days. Currently, 1,600 applications have been received and receiving more each day. There are 5 open house events planned, 2 in the fall, 3 in the spring. The next event is November 14th. Several of the events that have been planned already were affected by the floods in Columbia and Charleston, but most of those have been rearranged, and those that could not come to go to this because of the flooding have been invited to other events as well. The registrar has 961 classes for the spring 2016 classes already. Commencement plans are already underway. We have 78 graduate students and 235 undergraduates planning to graduate in December. Additionally, we have 22 graduate students and 38 undergraduates who completed their work over the summer and can walk in December. So very exciting news from our associate provost. Also have some information for us from the different departments. From the Department of History, great news from the Phi Alpha Theta, that's the History Honor Society, for the 6th year in a row. FMU chapter has been named the best in the nation. So congratulations to them. And because they were named 5 years in a row, they were competing against, in another part, was the Founders Award, which is the best of the best, and FMU beat all of those people as well. So congratulations to Dr. Chris Kennedy and that chapter for their fine work. From the Physics and Astronomy Department, Dr. Larry Englehart has received a $1.2 million grant that has already started, I believe, from 2015 through 2019. He's also had 2 articles published as well, so congratulations to Dr. Englehart and his department. And finally, from the Education Department, we're very proud of Dr. Tammy Pulowski, who was awarded the 2015 Boys and Girls Club PD Champion of Youth. This was given in September 2015, so she was honored with this very prestigious award, so congratulations to Dr. Pulowski. At this time, Mr. Chairman, I would like to bring to you 2 resolutions that we will need to vote on. We discussed these matters and they've been approved by committee. The first is the approving of the School of Health Sciences at Francis Marion University.
Motion by Mr. Bunch to approve Resolution 04-15, the resolution approving the School of Health Sciences. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Freeman. Is there any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. It's adopted.
Thank you. And the second one is approving the master's degree in speech pathology at Francis Marion University.
Motion by Dr. Bunch to approve Resolution 05-15, approving the master's degree in speech pathology. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Dr. Dozier. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, sir.
That concludes my report. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any questions for Dr. Bunch? Next on the agenda is Development and Alumni Committee. Mr. Coleman.
We met this afternoon and had a real good meeting. Darryl Bridges chaired it up and did a super job. We got a lot of good things going. Several new scholarships have been or are being established by donors, including scholarships by the Caloritas family, the Floyd family, and the Bite family, and the Poston family from Pamplico. The Foundation Board lost a very good member this past 2 or 3 months in Toy Nettles, and he was the vice chair of the Foundation Board, and in his place now that James Harrell was installed as the vice chairman. Excited about that. Fundraising activities underway with the new year, including annual fund drive, solicitations for academic scholarships and programs, and sponsorships. The outreach programs remain vibrant, with the Nonprofit Leadership Institute entering its 14th year, and the Rural Leadership Initiative is resulting in numerous community enrichment projects across the PD region. And I think it started out with 3 counties, and now there are 9 counties involved, and that's been very successful. Upcoming shows at the Performing Arts Center include the U.S. Air Force Heritage Brass. I think that's this weekend, November the 8th. The Tommy Dorsey Orchestra on November the 13th, and a Christmas Carol on December the 18th. All top-notch events, and encourage everyone to go. Homecoming is scheduled for February the 6th with several new activities. The upcoming alumni office activities include the annual Alumni Association Awards on February the 25th, 2016. The Chairman's Golf Classics on March the 18th. Scholarship reception for recipients of scholarships March the 29th. And scholarship gala is being planned on April the 2nd. Encourage everyone to attend. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Coleman. Any questions for Mr. Coleman? Thank you for that report. Next on the agenda is Financial Affairs and Facilities. Dr. Dozier.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Mr. President, before I get started, I'd like to mention a few employees. I want to thank Jay Kisbert for the detailed work, and he makes my job very easy for this report. I think he's in the room, but also Kathy Swartz, Director of County Services, and Mike Ritchie, Director of Facilities, Engineering, and Maintenance. They really make this easy for me and for the board. Just a lot of information today though. All state appropriations have been received as of October 30th, 15th. We had over $103,000 of health insurance allocation appropriations received in September. These funds represent the increase in health insurance fringe benefits related to appropriation funded employees, nearly 2/3 of FMU employees. Francis Marion unfortunately will bear the remaining 1/3 of that allocation, and that's in the initial budget. The total anticipated revenue is $85.93 million. Year-to-date revenue received is $50.23 million. General fund expenditures noted are progressing well as anticipated, with about 30% of our budget expended at this time, with 71% of the year remaining. Total employee headcount is 495, FTEs at 441.61. The 4-year change is 2, and an FTE of 5.98. Since the last report, estimates at this time, and other boards interested in this with financial aid awards, will increase $2.4 million for fiscal year 15-16 over 14-15. This is due mainly to the anticipated amount of student loans that have increased. And the percentage of undergrad students receiving assistance for this year remains at about 87%. I would mention that Francis Marion did pay the $800 state bonus to employees on October 22nd, 2015. And the big, I guess, talking point for us today would be our audit. Everybody has a copy of the audit. I do want to thank Kathy Swartz again, Director of County, for the work that she put into that. Just a couple of things that I would review there. Preparing the financial statements and accompanying information is in compliance with the generally accepted accounting principles and meeting the requirements of laws, regulations, and the provisions of contracts and grants. The auditor is responsible for expressing an opinion on Francis Marion University's financial statements. In order to do so, the auditor tests internal controls, adherence to accounting standards, and whether we're meeting the requirements of law and regulation of federal awards. After the auditor is complete with his review, he adds his opinion letter to the report. Auditors can issue unqualified opinions, qualified opinions, disclaimered opinions, or adverse opinions. And I would say that, as you can see, we do have a very good report. The auditor's report had an unqualified opinion. The auditor had no reservations concerning the financial statements and issued a clean opinion, meaning that the financial statements fairly represent the financial position of Francis Marion University. This is the best opinion that an auditor can issue. There were no findings related to the financial statements, and the audit firm proposed no adjustments. The auditor reported no instances of noncompliance with accounting standards in the audit. Federal awards are audited under different rules and given a separate opinion by the auditor as required by the current guidelines, but there were no deficiencies reported. So just a recognition of the staff for this outstanding work: Crystal Bazin, the Director of Financial Services and Student Accounts; Tracy Lee; Aisha Singletary, Single Account Cash Manager; April Johnson, Financial Aid; Kimberly Elliser, Financial Facilities Management, Ralph Davis; and Purchasing, Eric Garris. You know, these things having to do with my present job, these things don't just happen. You know, this is outstanding work, and that's an outstanding audit. And I think everybody associated with that should be commended for the work that they've done. Last, just a couple of comments on facilities. The Center for Health Sciences, the project involves construction of a 51,000 square foot 3-level facility. The facility will house the Masters in Family Nurse Practitioner Program, the Masters in Nurse Education Program, the Physician Assistant Program, and the Masters in Applied Psychology and the University of School of Medicine 3rd and 4th year medical school program. $15.5 million. It's on track. Construction began in May 2015 and is scheduled to be completed in August 2016. The steel structure is complete, site utilities complete, exterior framing and sheathing is near complete, single roofing is near completion, interior framing is 90% complete, exterior masonry has begun, will be completed in December. And the other thing that I'd mentioned, you could probably notice as you turned in the block mall, the bookstore mall, is gone and graded out, and certainly it gives a little better appearance as you turn into the campus. And the other thing we talked about is you'll be seeing some new signage on the university grounds pretty soon. So I compliment the staff on their good work, and that completes my report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Dr. Dozier. Any questions for Dr. Dozier? Very good report. Thank you very much. And thanks to all the staff and the audit and all the monies flowing through here and the rules and regulations that have to be complied with. That's no easy task, I know, and we appreciate the hard work. All right. Next on the agenda is Student Affairs and Athletics. Mr. Lee.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, the Student Affairs and Athletics Committee met this afternoon with Vice President Teresa Ramey and Athletic Director Murray Hartzler. We also met for the first time Samuel Smoot, who's the Student Government President. Samuel is here with us. Sam, why don't you stand up so everybody can meet you? Beginning with student government, the student government under Samuel's leadership had their first town hall meeting. They had 50 students and a panel of 7 faculty and 1 trustee, and they really addressed a lot of process issues. This is the first time they've had anything like that on campus, and from the turnout and the result, I think it's going to be something that happens again and with greater participation. But it was completely run by the student government. They did everything from organize it to decide what questions would be asked and what questions to cull out, and that really did kind of carry forward what they intended to do with this town hall forum. They also have had a commuter student appreciation event which focused on those commuters. I, being a former commuter, I appreciate that, because to make those folks who don't live on campus, who come here, realize that they are part of the student body as much as those who live on campus. And then they've had an SGA mingle. Turning to the athletics, the men's soccer team is playing in the Peach Belt semifinals, I believe, right now. The women's volleyball team is second in their conference. Both of the volleyball and the soccer team are young teams, which show promise. We don't anticipate any of them jumping into the pro leagues. But according to Murray, that he believes they can beat anybody. They just, it depends on the given day. Coach McDonald of the volleyball team had his 200th victory. The golf team has had 2 top 5 finishes. The basketball team kicks off this Friday. And in baseball, we will host the Peach Belt tournament, which will be May 11th through May the 15th here on campus. Finally, with student affairs, we had the Welcome Week, which was successful. We had over 2,000 students participating, and we had events like Movie on the Lawn, things like that. We've had the Leadership Francis Marion, which began on September 21st, and we had 36 students who participated. We had the Healthy Relationships Program, which we had over 300 students participate. We had athletes, people from the Greek community, as well as other students, but these groups were divided between men and women, and the speaker addressed with each group topics that are unique to those particular groups. As you'll recall, we talked a lot at the last meeting about Title IX and its impact. That is very much evident what both Murray and Teresa are doing in their various areas, because now the theme they worked on last year was diversity and inclusion. Now it's diversity, inclusion, and healthy relationships, to carry that one step further. The Multicultural Advisory Board met on the September 22nd. That's a group made up of faculty, students, and staff, and they had a lecture of photographer Jose Galvarez. The Student Leadership Annual Reception was held by Dr. Carter and Folly Carter at their home here at the Wallace House. They had 100 students, which included the SGA, the SAC, and the presidents of all the student organizations, and this was the 4th year they had this. Then finally, they had the health fair on October 28th, and we had 62 employers, and to the best count we can get, given all the different ways you can get in and out of the UC, we had 150 students participate, but we had folks like Sunoco and Otis and ACS come, and they did various things looking for students. And that would be the committee's report.
Thank you, Mr. Lee. Any questions for Mr. Lee? Thank you for that report, sir. Next on the agenda is the President's report.
Mr.
President
Chairman, very quickly, let me just remind the board members that commencement's December 19th. Our commencement speaker will be Congressman Tom Rice, and we'll also give an honorary degree at commencement to Rainey Gamble, who longtime executive assistant to the provost, who will be retiring in December. I really can't think of anybody on this campus more deserving than an honorary degree than Rainey. So I think we're all very, very happy about that. You mentioned you passed a resolution creating the School of Health Sciences. Mr. Chairman, let me just take a second and explain to the board what will occur next with the creation of that new school within the university. The provost will meet with the faculty of that school within the next week. And the provost will ask the will of the faculty pertaining to the selection of a dean, whether or not the faculty chooses to go outside or whether or not the faculty wants to stay inside. And depending upon the outcome of that, then the faculty will be polled pertaining to their specific recommendations, which will go to the provost, who will then make a recommendation to me, and then we'll appoint. If we go outside, we'll begin conducting the search to fill that position. That school will actually be formed officially on the 1st of July. Between now and the 1st of July, we'll realign the chart of accounts financially so that the money essentially is moved. A portion of the money pertaining at least to that school will be moved out of the College of Liberal Arts, and the new dean will have signatory authority over that. And then the faculty, the elected faculty, will amend the bylaws pertaining to the apportionment of votes in the faculty senate pertaining to representation. So the official beginning, the official creation of that school will begin the first day of July 2016. And of course, I think all of you know this, but that school will include all the nursing programs, the physician assistance program, the new speech therapy, speech pathology program, and any additional health sciences programs that we create down the road. Let me, if I might, just provide some elaboration now on Dr. Bunch's discussion of the Provost Search Committee. And let me insert this caveat before I talk about this. All this provost search process can stop immediately if the existing provost will just agree to stay a year or 2 or 3 years longer. I can see he's thinking about that. While he's thinking about it, let me just very quickly define the search committee. Travis Knowles, this year's distinguished professor, is chair of the search committee. The chair of the faculty, Becky Flanagan's on the search committee. Jay Kispert, vice president for business, is on the search committee. Joyce Durant, dean of the library, is on the search committee. And my friend Sammy Smoot, back behind us, the president of Student Government Association, also sits on the search committee. And then we asked the faculty to elect 4 representatives to the search committee, 2 from the College of Liberal Arts, 1 from the School of Business, 1 from the School of Education. So there are 9 members on the search committee. We've asked them to bring back 3 recommendations for the provost, unranked. And hopefully, we will have those people on campus no later than about mid-spring to begin interviews pertaining to the provost position. We'll ask the board to, as you have availability in your schedule, to come and join us and meet some of those candidates that the search committee has invited to campus when that occurs. Again, it's hard to say exactly time frame. We hope that will occur sometime in the February to early March period. Next issue. Let's talk for a second, if we might, about campus security. You know, in the aftermath of the incident at Virginia Tech in 2007, we did a number of things on this campus to enhance our security. We put in an electronic messaging system, Swamp Fox Alert, which our students and faculty and staff subscribe to, instant messaging with regard to any situations that occur in campus. We put in a siren system on campus. That's an emergency reaction siren system. We essentially hired additional police officers on campus. We put in some additional cameras on campus relative to the protection, and we enhanced the equipment and the protective gear that our officers carry or that's accessible to our officers relative to any situation that occur on campus. Every year we go back and look at what additional security precautions need to be taken. Over the next 6 weeks, we will replace about 200 classroom locks across campus to enhance security of classrooms. We are expanding over the next 2 months our siren system to provide that siren coverage across on the athletic fields as well as the south part of the campus, the PD Health Education Center and the like. We will engage very shortly the City of Florence in revising our memorandum of agreement with the City of Florence. Right now they provide support coverage for the Performing Arts Center. We will engage in discussions with them about expanding that protection and support to include the new health sciences building. Our police department will be the first responders to anything that occurs on campus. Obviously, with the Performing Arts Center and Health Sciences Center downtown, we're heavily dependent upon the City of Florence to be the initial responders in those situations. We will, in December, we will stage a law enforcement exercise on our campus that will be facilitated, led by SLED. Will include City of Florence, Florin County Sheriff's Department, EMT, Highway Patrol, emergency providers that we'll depend upon to respond in support of our own police officers should anything occur on campus. We do that periodically. It's time to do another major exercise. We'll do that on this campus in December. And then the other thing that we're examining right now, the provost and Chief Tarbell are working on bringing some law enforcement speakers on campus to essentially talk about protection trends that exist across the country. So, as always, we're attentive to security issues. We're very, very conscious of the fact that you and I have no greater job than to protect the safety of the faculty, staff, and students that are on this campus. And we continually work on that. Speech pathology program. You know, every place I speak across the PD, I get enormous reactions to this. It's one of those areas that unless you start asking people, you don't understand the enormous shortage that exists with regard to speech therapists. So we're moving ahead with that. Today, you passed the approval of that program. Larry, I believe the faculty and the Faculty Senate have already approved that program. It's interesting, the provost and I met with the governor's staff a couple of weeks ago for our budget brief, and we got a very, very nice reception from the governor's staff with regard to the speech pathology program. This is one of those things that I think will move through the process pretty quickly. But of course, the single most important thing that all of us know around the table is the process ultimately ends with the gentleman at the end of the table. Mr. Chairman, 2 words, speech pathology. You guys all know that the chairman always helps us with those issues, and we're most appreciative of that, Mr. Chairman. And finally, I would close my report by reminding you that we have some terrific authors on campus, both poets and novelists. And as soon as we adjourn, 6 o'clock, there's performances across the way in Larimore Auditorium. We would invite all the board to join us for that. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. President. Any questions from Dr. Carter? Next on the agenda is unfinished business, and we do have one item of unfinished business. At the August meeting, we had a slate of proposed officers put before the board, and that slate for the upcoming year 16 and 17, the nominating committee had recommended that the chairmanship be Kenneth W. Jackson, vice chairmanship Floyd Keels, and secretary trustee Eddie Gunn. What is the will of the board in regards to these nominations?
Make a motion to adopt the slate as proposed.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Lee,
Second.
seconded by Dr. Dozier to approve the slate of officers. Is there any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Those are your new officers for 16 and 17. Congratulations, guys. Now we're moving to new business, and we had moved the Executive Affairs report to new business, and we do have a resolution from the Executive Affairs Committee. It's an amended resolution 0315. And I generally don't read these, but this is such an auspicious occasion. I think I will read this. If the board will indulge me, I'll read this resolution because it is a very special event for us here at Francis Marion. So Resolution 0315, amended resolution. For the naming of the Luther F. Carter Center for Health Sciences, and the W. Haig Porter Auditorium, and Sompom Crackett Medical Simulation Laboratory. Whereas Luther F. Carter, Ph.D., has had a distinguished career in South Carolina state government, serving as a senior executive assistant to South Carolina Governor Carroll Campbell from 1987 to 1991, executive director of the South Carolina Budget and Control Board from 1991 to 1999, and as chief of staff to Governor Mark Sanford 2003. Whereas Dr. Carter has achieved an exemplary record of state and community service, chairing the South Carolina Institute of Medicine and Public Health Board of Directors, the Greater Florence Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors, and the South Carolina Governor's Commission on International Cooperation and Agreements, and serving on the Board of Trustees of Carolina's Hospital System and the South Carolina Bar Association's Commission for an Independent Judiciary. Whereas Dr. Carter has been recognized for his outstanding service and achievements as a recipient of the South Carolina Order of the Palmetto, honorary degrees from the College of Charleston, Lander University, and the Citadel, and recognition from the National Governors Association Distinguished State Executive Award, and the American Association of University Professors, the Ralph Brown Award, South Carolina Chamber of Commerce Public Service Servant of the Year Award, the International Federation German American Clubs, the Lucius Clay Award, the South Carolina Humanities Council Governor's Award in the Humanities, the South Carolina Regional Council of Governments Public Official of the Year Award, the University of Central Florida's Distinguished Alumnus Award in 1999, University of South Carolina College of Arts and Sciences Distinguished Graduate Alumnus 2006. And whereas Dr. Carter has had a distinguished military career serving his country as a United States Marine Corps Reserve, having reached the rank of Colonel retired. And whereas Dr. Carter has had a stellar academic and teaching career, having authored 5 books and numerous juried chapters and articles, serving as a member of the faculty and chairman of the Political Science Department at the College of Charleston from 1981 through 1987, and as a member of the faculty of Francis Marion University from 1999 to the present. And whereas Dr. Carter has had a distinguished career of leadership as the 4th president of Francis Marion University, where he has restored and continues to foster a strong sense of community and pride in the institution as leader colleague, and friend to the faculty, staff, students, alumni of Francis Marion University. And whereas W. Haig Porter, Esquire, has had a distinguished public service and legal career, serving as mayor of Florence, as a special master, special referee for the 12th and 4th Judicial Circuits. And whereas Mr. Porter has been actively involved as a board member of the Doctors Bruce and Lee Foundation, serving as the chairman of the Grants Committee. And whereas Mr. Porter has been a strong supporter of Francis Marion University and its faculty, staff, and students. Whereas Sompom Crackett, MD, has served the PD region as a distinguished physician and educator for over 40 years. And whereas Dr. Crackett has served as a longtime member of the board of directors for the Francis Marion University Education Foundation, including several terms as the chair. And whereas Dr. Crackett has supported Francis Marion University's faculty, students through an endowed scholarship, international program gifts, and other financial and circular contributions. Therefore be resolved by the Board of Trustees of Francis Marion University, hereby approving the naming of the Center for the Health Sciences, the Luther F. Carter Center for Health Sciences, in honor of Luther F. Carter, Ph.D. And further, be it therefore resolved that the Board of Trustees for Francis Marion University hereby approves naming the Center for the Health Sciences Auditorium in honor of W. Haig Porter, Esquire, and its Medical Simulation Laboratory in honor of Sompom Crackett, M.D. I'd ask, this is put forward as a motion from the Executive Affairs Committee. I'd ask for a second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Freeman. Is there any discussion? I'd just like to say, on behalf of the board, that I would like to acknowledge and thank Mr. Haig Porter and Dr. Crackett for their longtime support and contributions to Francis Marion. And I think it's most appropriate to name the auditorium in Mr. Porter's honor and the simulation lab in Dr. Crackett's honor. And Mr. President, on behalf of the board, I want to express to you our heartfelt appreciation for your outstanding leadership here for now more than 16 years. I think we'd all agree that Francis Marion has ascended to levels that we just dreamed about years ago under your leadership. And we are truly fulfilling the mission that this university was founded on in 1970. Yes, a total team effort to reach these goals, and we have a wonderful faculty, staff, administration, students, alumni, and yes, even a board of trustees. But it all starts at the top with great leadership and vision, and sir, you have provided that to us in the most determined way, and we're deeply appreciative of that. I believe the naming of the Center for Health Sciences in your honor is a most appropriate recognition for your commitment and service to this institution and this state. And I congratulate you, sir. Before we have any comments, we do have an official vote to take. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Mr. President, would you like to offer any comments?
No. Wow, I didn't quite see this one coming. I detected some covert whispering today between the chairman and Tucker Mitchell and Mr. Lee. I knew that the audit was on the agenda. I just was hopeful it didn't involve an indictment. This board has been very generous to me and my family over the years, and this is quite a privilege. It's quite an honor, and I also want to tell you, and I think everybody around this table knows it. Having my name linked on a facility with that of Haig Porter and Sompom Crackett is phenomenal. There are two people in this community that have done so much for this community and this university. So I'm deeply appreciative, Mr. Chairman, to the board and to my faculty, for whom I have great esteem, and to the staff as well. Thank you very much. I would indicate, so that all of you know, if it weren't for Senator Leatherman, that facility wouldn't be down there. But the same thing can be true for a lot of the facilities across this campus. So, Mr. Chairman, I always tip my hat to you as well for doing what you do for this institution and for the men and women who attend this institution. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, this is my last official meeting as your chair, and I congratulate the officers coming in, Chairman-elect Jackson. I wish you well in the next 2 years. It's been a pleasure and an honor to serve as your chairman. The last 2 years, anybody that knows me knows how much Francis Marion University means to me, and it's been a pleasure and an honor to serve as your chairman. I appreciate you allowing me to do so, and I look forward to continuing to serve and help Chairman Jackson and the slate of officers in any way I can. So it's been a great ride, and I appreciate it. We look forward to continuing on, sir. Thank you. Any further business to come before the board? If not, we'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Lee, seconded by Dr. Dozier to adjourn. We are adjourned.
Congratulations.